Does anyone ever see this movie I remember called Last Temptation of Christ? Probably one of the more controversial Jesus movies. This isn't a Christianity video, but if you understand the movie in the final 40 minutes that I'm talking about, where like the fake guardian angel comes and says, you suffered enough, time to come down from the cross. The whole ending of the 40 minutes is blasphemy. But they put that disclaimer, so don't stone me to death. But I actually recommend watching that movie. But I feel like kind of like a not fake guardian angel for Tony Ferguson right now because I'm kind of saying like, dude, I think you're suffering enough for us. I think just I don't know if you want to stay in there or you want to just keep going back, but every time I see Ferguson on a card, I never thought I'd get this way, dude. I never thought I'd get this way, where I'm kind of like just cringing every time I see him on a card, and again, I'm gonna I'm gonna prove it. Fandom. I'm a longtime fan of this guy. He's my favorite personality in the UFC of all time because he was just an authentic guy who was so different from everybody else, but didn't care and made it work for him. He never went with the status quo. UFC took him for granted. And he should have gotten out. I felt like he should have gotten out a while ago. And it sucks because I was there live in the audience for him versus Michael Chandler, where we saw one round where Vintage El Kukui was back, and then well, bam, and then you go to see that Nate Diaz fight last November. He wasn't the same. He wasn't able to do cartwheels the same anymore. He looked like he was severely brain damaged. The way he fought that fight was horrible. And now you're telling me, like, if you were to go back 5 years and say that I pick Bobby Green over Tony Ferguson. Because anybody who's a precision boxer like Bobby Green is a nightmare for Tony at this stage. Now, maybe when he was younger and he had that chin and he could just take hits and keep moving forward, and he wasn't, he didn't have 10 years of his career taken off by Justin Gaethje. I'd have Tony Ferguson by first round finish for sure. But this is current Tony, who has obviously taken so much damage over the past few years that I'm saying, brother, as one of your number one fans, why do you keep going in there? Of course, it's your decision. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not your manager. But as someone who thinks that you bring value to outside the octagon and inside the octagon, brother, why are you keep going? You got too much to live for outside of you MMA, dude. You got a family. You got kids. You got an academy. You got nothing left to prove in the UFC. You fought at the top level for how many years? So what if the UFC never gave you a fair shake for that belt? I'm just tired of seeing this. I'm tired of seeing him go out there and suffer for us anymore. When we're all telling him, Tony, you don't need to do this anymore, man. Maybe he might win. I don't know. I just don't know how he's going to recover from. It depends. My prediction for this fight is if he comes anywhere in the caliber where Nate Diaz, that fight, I think that Bobby Green is for sure gonna win this fight, whether it's by decision or something else. I hope not another knockout. That would be hard to watch as a Tony fan. But if somehow a miracle happens and he actually took an appropriate amount of time off, right? I really feel like he could win this fight, but I don't know, man. He's not getting any younger. Maybe this is his retirement fight. Who knows? Maybe this is time for him to hang it up and get it together. But I don't want to see this from Tony anymore, man. It was fun while it lasted. I'm glad I got to see him fight live when he was active back in UFC 274. I'm super glad for everything he's done for the sport. But I just think him versus anyone is just based on the damage he's taken. And I'm not even saying this with disrespectful. I'm saying this from an absolute spot of love. And obviously, as someone who's a diehard fan, Tony, man, you don't owe us anything else. It's time to enjoy the rest of your life. And like, come on, man. I think he got so much outside the octagon. So, like, let's say this fight you win or lose by decision. I really hope you take those gloves off and put them in the center of the octagon. I'm not saying you're going to lose for sure, but I just from what I've seen, it's hard to have faith. And that's the thing is you got to look at this from an objective standpoint. So I got, Bobby Green probably winning this by decision, hopefully not by another cold knockout. But maybe Tony's going to surprise us and come back and flip back the clock like he did versus Chandler for that one round. But yeah, Tony, man, it's okay, man. You don't need to do this anymore. You've done enough. Peace.